Welcome back to IDP Bets. How's everybody doing? My name is Johnny the Greek. Welcome to the Week 11 edition of IDP Bets. Hope everyone had a good Week 10. I am joined by a very special guest this week. He is Jeff Pomazal of the IDPshow.com, writer, host of the IDP Update, and also the weekly Start Sit show. I almost said the other word. He is a known Wisconsin Badgers fan, a Big Ten enthusiast, and a degenerate. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on, Johnny. It's an honor to be here. It's a great show every week. We're tuning in, making a little bit of money every once in a while. So just hopefully we can keep that trend going. Week 11 already. That's crazy.
I know, man. Time flies. It really is nutty. But yeah, we've been doing pretty good. Speaking of which, so we were 4-2 last week, so back to our winning ways. So we're looking good there. And before we get into it this week, just a reminder, these are not even suggestions. We're just discussing the bets we might be making personally. Set a limit and stick to it. For help with problem gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we will tee things off with Jeff for number one. First favorite bet, IDP Bets Week 11. What do you got?
Yeah, this one seems like almost too good to be true. We've got sack prop here. Andrew Van Ginkel over half a sack this week. If you've been following Van Ginkel's season, he lives and thrives on big plays all season. He's like right now currently the number one defensive lineman in IDP scoring, and it's all because of held up by big plays, whether it's sacks, interceptions, return for touchdown. So he's lived on big plays. So getting a half a sack should be something pretty easy for him in this game. He was able to get a sack last week, only playing 40 snaps against the Jaguars last week. So hopefully we get a few more snaps this week, which will help his chances for hitting this. He has 6 sacks on the season. And sacks seem to come in bunches too. Like players seem to get hot. They get just a feeling or whatever it might be, and they just get them. So right now it sounds like Van Ginkel's like on another heater here for sacks. Best news of all of this is he's lining up against Nicholas Petit-Frere, which is the right tackle for the Tennessee Titans. Right now, he's ranked 115th of 122 tackles in PFF. Wow. He's only played in 5 games. He's given up 23 pressures, 17 hurries, and 5 sacks in 5 games. So, like, he's literally just his middle name, I think, is Civ right now. So he's just oozing points. There's only 5 players in the NFL at tackle right now that have given up more sacks than him. And to think that he's only played in 5 games is pretty crazy. Will Levis doesn't do his offensive line any favors. He holds on to the ball a little bit longer, trying to make plays. So that could help us out a little bit in this one. So I really like Van Ginkel for over a half a sack this week. Also, this could be like a Jonathan Grenard play too. He's also got a line for half a sack. So both of those are pretty decent calls. I like, especially the Van Ginkel one. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on the AVG thing here. We've been talking about this in the Slack all week. Mike Woolert, pointed out initially a few days ago with the tackle situation, and we've been piling on this thing, and it looks like a great setup and a great play this week. Not to mention Tennessee offensively is one of the worst teams in the league, so they'll be in a negative game script, I would guess, immediately. And, passing far more than they would like to this week, which, means a more pass rush, more opportunities. So, yeah, I love that. That's a great opening bet. Beautiful. All right, sir. We got a good start there. For my first favorite IDP bet, week 11, I'm going to go Roquan over 9.5 combined tackles at -120. So he's cleared this in half the games he's played this season, 5 out of 10. And gets a Pittsburgh team that allows 18.9 linebacker tackles per game. That is the 3rd best across the entire league for that ranking. So this Pittsburgh offense and rushing attack in particular was the best in the league for allowing opposing linebacker tackles as recently as 2 weeks ago. And we've seen how effective Najee Harris has been recently. This Pittsburgh offense is now averaging 30.3 points per game with Russell Wilson under center. And they're looking much better offensively in general with him at quarterback. They actually only scored 20.6 points per game with Fields under center. So much better looking Pittsburgh offense in general. That's going to be good for Roquan this week. They average 34.3 rush attempts per game, plus the occasional Russell Wilson scramble out of the pocket. So we've got a good floor of run stopping opportunities that are going to be there for Roquan. Beyond that, there hasn't been a blowout one way or the other in this famous rivalry game since 2019 in December. So no worries about, Roquan losing snaps due to blowout rest. And we also may have the first shootout in this rivalry game since November of 2020 with how great these offenses look. And shootouts are exactly what we want for good IDP production. So we've got a ton of different factors coming together to make a nice setup for Roquan to get over this line this week. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I really like this one, especially with the news now that Najee Harris is cleared with the injury designation too. A little worried about that at the beginning of the week if he wasn't going to play, and then Jalen Warren popped up on the list with an injury designation to start the week, so it was kind of looking sketchy there for a little bit. But both players have cleared the injury label and look like they're rock solid. And like you said, this has all the makings of a huge shootout. Like you pass on Baltimore, you keep them going, then Pittsburgh's going to try to run the same. So we could see a ton of plays on both sides in this game. So I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, right? This is usually like a 17-14, 3
Right.
yards in a cloud of dust game. I don't think we're getting that this time. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, this is definitely not your mom and dad's Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. So
no, different reality this year. That's for sure. All right. So what do you got for your second one for this week?
Yeah, the second one I'm kind of a big fan of too. I like Trevion Morig for over 7.5 tackles assist in this one. He's been playing 100% of snaps this season, which is exactly what we want. He's covered this line in 3 of the last 4 games, which is nice to see that it's consistent. And he's doing it more than just getting over the line. He's destroyed it. Miami right now is giving up 16 tackles per game to opposing safeties on the season. And that number only gets better with Tua under center. You kind of mentioned earlier about having a better offense and more efficient. The Dolphins in the last 3 games with Tua, they're giving up 19 tackles to the position over the last 3 games. So that only gives us a better opportunity. I don't like to throw out the game script narrative too much, but I think in this game, I think Miami just controls the ball a lot. They've been running the ball efficiently. They've been throwing the ball with Tua. They've been sustaining drives. And like you mentioned in the last prop bet too, you just want that. You want a lot of offensive plays. And that, I think, is exactly what the Dolphins are going to do with the Raiders on Sunday. So run a lot of plays, which gives Morig a lot of chances. And this could be over by the third quarter. So we could see a heavy run game at the end of the game here. So I like that over 7.5 for him.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. And just looking quickly, he's cleared this 3 of the last 4 weeks, and usually by a lot, not a little. Like I'm looking at what is that? Like a 13 tackle game, a 9 tackle game, a 9 tackle game, an 8 tackle game. Like, yeah, he's been awesome this year. And we were talking about this before we hit record. The sites haven't caught up to that. They got his projection all screwed up, and like Yahoo, I'm seeing like a 6-point projection. He's putting up 25-point games. Like, they haven't caught up to how good he's been this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and the game script just kind of flows that way. I don't know if Gardner Minshew like really is the answer for the Raiders, and they were kind of back and forth on stuff, and who knows? Is this a Spencer Rattler game? Are we going to see some stuff out of him? So who knows where we're going to be at with the quarterback playing this one?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got for your second one here, Johnny?
All righty. So number 2 for me, I'm going to go with Terrell Bernard over 4.5 solo tackles at -150. He combined tackles weren't out yet when I was looking at this earlier. I'm sure that'll be out though, and that's fine too. You could go with that if it's a better price. So he's cleared this line in 3 of 7 games he's played this season, and is up against a Kansas City team that allows 19.2 linebacker tackles per game. That's the second best across the entire league for that ranking. With Vegas giving this matchup a 45.5 point total with only a 2-point spread, they're telling us to expect a back and forth affair and a shootout. That's great news for Terrell, as we, probably won't have to worry about a blowout either way, and then the blowout rest, which is the bane of our existence, right? That he's 100% of snaps guy. If the game's over in the third quarter, he's sitting. He's no longer 100% of snaps guy, right? So we don't want that to happen. Doesn't look like it's going to happen in this game, so that's good. And while Kansas City has made some moves to address their passing attack with the Hopkins signing, they're still primarily a run and play defense team. So we know the rushing attempts are going to be there. Those easy run stopping tackles are going to be there. Kansas City, runs the ball 30.2 times per game. plus the occasional Mahomes scramble out of the pocket. So the opportunities will be there for Bernard. We just got to hope he takes advantage of them. So, yep, Bernard over 4.5 solos at -150. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I really like this one a lot too, because even like some of their passes are short passes, which basically are extensions of the run game. You know, how many times we've seen Kelsey kind of like almost get that screen almost behind the offensive line, which is basically a run anyway. It's great for PPR points because he gets that pass, but it's basically just an extension of the run game. So you're going to get some opportunities there. And I know you have another prop coming up in this game too that kind of feels like it's a good feel with this, the flow of the offense for Kansas City. So I like that call a lot.
Yeah, and he the only issue with Bernard this season is he gets dinged up occasionally. Other than that, he's awesome. He's very productive. So I think we're looking good there.
That's the story of the Buffalo Bills linebackers, isn't it? They get all dinged up all the time. So
yeah,
Matt Milano might be coming back sooner than later too. So
oh, I know, crazy times ahead.
yeah.
But we'll take it. We need the help, that's for sure. All righty, what do you got for your third one for week 11?
I feel like, I've been taking like the easy ones here. I don't know, easy is the word, but somebody who's been consistent for us all season, Jamien Sherwood, over 9.5 tackles assist in this one. The dude has just been getting it done all season long. We mentioned with Morig kind of killing the stat line. Sherwood has just been destroying his too. He's been like, it's not even been close in these games. He's got like 13, 14 tackle games and things like that. So love seeing that from a player who's been consistent. It's not just a fluke week that he does it. It's been every single week. He's cleared this in 4 of the last 6 and clearing it very easily. One of those games he didn't clear it was week 7, and that was a CJ Mosley comeback game where Mosley kind of just messed things up for him. He was kind of playing out of alignment, and he still got 9 tackles. So he only missed it by like a half of a tackle. So it wasn't like it was like, relegated to nothing. Mosley's, I think, already been ruled out for this game. So Sherwood's going to he's going to have his reign and his run there. The other game that he missed it was against Houston. And in that game, he had 7 tackles and 2 sacks. So it's not like he wasn't productive. For whatever reason, he just didn't get the extra 2 tackles there. But I like that getting 4 of the last 6. The other thing I like about this one is the Indianapolis stat crew is very generous with their tackles and assists. They currently have 2 linebackers. Maybe you've heard of them, Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. They're both top 10 right now in the league in tackles. So getting those 2 guys to have their home stat crew be as generous as they are with tackles and assists. Maybe we'll get a little love sprinkle Sherwood's way too in this one. Last kind of note that I had is Anthony Richardson is back under center, or I guess not technically. He doesn't take a lot of snaps under center, but he's the quarterback again for the Colts. And I think that just yields itself to a little more run heavy instead of pass heavy. Flacco's not chucking the ball 25 yards downfield, either going for a touchdown or getting picked. So we could probably see a lot of Richardson running the ball. We can see a lot of Jonathan Taylor in this one. So I like Sherwood a lot this week to clear 9.5 tackles assists. So what are your thoughts on that one, Johnny?
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we had 17 last week, 17.
Yeah.
And the setup was good. I mean, it was Arizona, and this is similar, right? This is a similar setup, a very run heavy team that, doesn't, especially with AR, doesn't like to pass it that often. That's for sure. So I think that lines up well for them. And the Jets are so bad. We also don't have to worry about any blowout shenanigans here either. It's not like they're going to be up 28 and we're sitting Sherwood in the 4th quarter because the game's over. That's not going to happen with this Jets team. So we're going to get a competitive game in an ideal game script. That's as good as it gets for these setups. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised the line is like 43 points for this one anyway. So
yeah, I would have thought
pretty high.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I would have thought lower as well. Yeah, I think that's maybe due to the Indy defense a little bit. They're not ranked well, but yeah, I mean, New York's not running away with this. No way.
No. What do you got here for your third one here? Is this the one?
Yeah. So my third one here. So we'll save the good, my favorite one for the bonus. But I do have a plus money one here that might be pretty good for us because these are rare, right? We don't find too many plus money ones in the IDP props. I'm gonna go Cameron Hayward over 2.5 combined tackles at plus 120. That is not a lot of tackles for Cameron Hayward. He's cleared this line in 7 of 9 games this season and gets a Baltimore team that allows 17.3 defensive line tackles per game. That's the 8th best across the entire league. So, you got Derrick Henry and the Ravens run game averaging almost 32 attempts per game on the ground, plus the Lamar Jackson scampers out of the pocket. So that's a great floor for run stopping tackles right there. Plus, Vegas has Baltimore favored by 3 in Pittsburgh, which means they're really favored by 6 because the home team gets 3 points in spread betting. So Vegas thinks Baltimore is going to win by about a touchdown. And that increases our odds of some salt the clock away carries at the end of the game where, Baltimore's just wrapping things up and killing the clock. That always helps too, because I can't tell you how many times we've been a tackle away or a half tackle away, from or an assisted tackle away from getting over our line. And it's those end of game carries that does it for us. So, that could be helpful. And then this Baltimore offense has been prolific all season long. I don't see that changing this week. So I think, that's a key for us. Good offensive production equals good IDP production on the other side. And Cameron Hayward to get 3 tackles is not a big ask, I don't think.
No, the dude has been so good for so long. He's just been like a staple. Like to be the type of player he is at this stage in his career, it's every year he's just a value in best ball drafts because he just keeps dropping and dropping, and he's just like one of those guys you can get 13th, 14th round. That's like, oh, that's screaming value. So love that call.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, he'll be on my teams until the wheels fall off. That is for sure. All right, I think we got a couple bonus bets this week. You got one here for us?
Actually, I can't decide which bonus bet I like, and both of them involve a player whose last name is Hicks.
Yeah, go give them both. Give them both. We'll take them both.
Okay, all right. I got Jordan Hicks under 7.5 tackles, and I kind of like the under 4.5 solos too. He's only cleared this line once all season. Jordan Hicks, again, he's been one of my favorite players since he was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals back in the day. But he's coming off an injury. He's got an elbow tricep issue he's been kind of dealing with on and off all season. New Orleans in their last 3 games has only been allowing 14 tackles to opposing linebackers, which basically means that Hicks has to be in on almost half of them to hit this line. The Saints offense is really morphed in the last couple of weeks with Carr coming back. They're throwing a lot of deep balls. We saw MVS last week get 2 really deep ones. And then Kamara getting swing passes out of the backfield. They're not really running the ball. And I don't think either of those 2 plays bode well for Hicks's style of play right now. Hicks seems kind of be like this up the middle, just kind of clogging the middle spot. I know that the Browns don't have JOK, and so they're probably going to lean a lot on Hicks. But for a player who's coming off an injury, 7.5 total tackles and assists just seems pretty lofty, especially since he hasn't hit that number, maybe since Reagan was in office. So I'm going to kind of take the under on that one. So the other Hicks one, not related, is Elijah Hicks. I'm going to go over his 5.5 tackles and assists. He's playing 100% of snaps right now with Jaquan Brisker now on IR. So the job is his. The PFF grades have been really, really strong for the 3rd-year player. A lot of greens and blues, which is something really nice to see instead of a lot of the fall colors usually. He's covered this in 3 straight games. His alignment has been really well, pretty solid script too. Even with Kevin Byard there, they're kind of splitting 50-50 deep and in the box. So, they're not just relying on Kevin Byard and his veteran presence to be up in the line. So that's been pretty decent as far as the alignment goes for him. I know that Green Bay is not the best matchup for opposing safeties, but Malik Willis was the quarterback for a good chunk of the season. So I think that kind of skews the numbers just a little bit. A division game coming off their bye. The Packers are, healthy. I think this is going to be a game where that game script favors the Packers being on offense a lot. I don't know if you watched the game, Johnny, but the Bears offense looks terrible. And I don't think firing an offensive coordinator is really the magic fix here. They just look like a team that's lost. Caleb Williams just doesn't look like he's ready right now. The opposing team was helping him up last week after getting a sack and stuff like that. So I just like this number for Hicks to get over 5.5, especially with he's done it in 3 straight. Game script is looking that way. So yeah. So I guess I'm all in on Hicks props this week. So
No, I love it. I love it. And I really, really like that second one because you're right. You're right. The Chicago offense has been a dumpster fire lately. And there is a difference because I have to look at this stuff for other betting stuff. The Packers are scoring almost 30 points a game with Love under center. It is not that much total for the season because those 2 games with Malik pulled them down. One of them, they only scored like 16 points. So it really pulls their average down a little bit. They are a much better offense with Love under center. So I could see this being the type of game where Green Bay is on offense for like 35, 40 minutes. And Chicago, puts up the kind of stat lines we've seen the last couple of weeks: 120 yards of passing, 3 interceptions, 5 sacks, and a handful of carries for Swift, and they get blown away. I could totally see that, and that's perfect for Hicks. That would line him up for a huge day at the office. Absolutely. So I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Beautiful.
What do you got for your
all right, and I got an
spicy bonus one here?
Yeah. So we got to go corners, right? We got to have at least one corner bet in here, or I haven't
for the
done
brand,
my due
right?
diligence.
For
For the brand, exactly. So I'm gonna take Teron Johnson over 3.5 combined tackles. A whole 4 tackles needed for Teron Johnson this week. I don't know if he can do it. So that's minus 165. He has cleared this line in 4 of the last 5 games. 4 of 5 games total he's played this season because he had that injury towards the beginning of the year. And he gets a Kansas City team that's the 5th best across the league for allowing cornerback tackles. Beyond that, Teron Johnson is not a normal cornerback. He's not a wide cornerback. He gets slot snaps, he gets box snaps, he gets run stopping tackles all the time. So, beyond that, we talked about Vegas and how they looked at this matchup, and it's close. It's a small spread. It's a high total, back and forth affair, shootout with no blowouts. That's perfect. He's 100% a snaps guy anyway. And that is just an insanely low number of tackles for Teron Johnson. This guy, I can't tell you how many times I've seen him at the top of the Buffalo box score over the years I've been doing the cornerback article. That's usually an inside linebacker, but it's been Teron Johnson many, many, many times over the years. So yeah, I just think they're off by a tackle or 2 on this one. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love this call too, especially like we had mentioned too with the Terrell Bernard call that you had earlier. Johnson's not a typical safety or a typical corner. He's getting a lot of those, slot corner spots, which is great because they run the ball as much as they do. He can, steal a tackle or 2, tackling running backs coming out of the backfield between if it's Steele or if it's going to be Kareem Hunt, so he get a tackle or 2 there. And then, like we said, Travis Kelce is right there. And if you're a slot corner, guess whose job it is to cover? Kelce probably is going to get peppered with a few targets. It's since DeAndre Hopkins came to town, that's kind of helped him out a little bit too. It'd be interesting to look at the splits. I think he had like 13 or 14 targets last week, and that's with Hopkins in there. And so, we get 2 or 3 of those, like with Teron Johnson on him, like this is going to cover by the first half, Johnny. I think this one's kind of a layup. So I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I was shocked. When I saw that tackle number. I was like, someone screwed up. So we'll take it.
Yep. Their loss is our gain. So we'll take it for sure.
That's it. Unless they're watching this, in which case we're screwed, but that's okay. But yeah, hey, good stuff, man. Great bets. I think we got some good ones this week. Before we get out of here, please tell the people where they can find you, what you're working on this season, any announcements for the crowd.
Sure. You can find me over at Jeff Pomazal over on X or whatever they're calling it now. I haven't made the jump over to Butterfly or anything like that yet. I don't think I'm jumping ship. So always available, questions, trade requests, all that kind of stuff. I love answering stuff, interacting with everyone, just like talking football. So I'm working on the IDP updates on Thursday morning, those get launched, and it's just kind of a recap of the big news stories of the week, injuries, trades, and just kind of, well, in the last couple of days, it's been a lot of releases. Players have been getting cut and stuff like that. So just kind of keeping people up to date. So if you don't have a lot of time to do the research on your own, you got 5-10 minutes, you can just watch the update and kind of get caught up to speed. And then on Sunday mornings, I get a chance to talk with a special guest every week, and we help people set their lineups. And it started off as IDP only, but hey, we're been everything now. We've had a kicker question, we had quarterback questions, we've been doing it all. So we'll take it. We'll take it. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't, I think, realize that you don't get to IDP until you've mastered offense, right? Like that, you don't start with IDP. This is a degenerate thing that grows over time, and it's like, okay, well, I've done Superflex and I've done Dynasty and I've done Devi. What's left? You know what I mean? So yeah, we can handle offense questions. Thank you.
It's kind of fun, like when people say, "Oh, you do podcasts?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then they ask what I do. I'm like, "Well, so fantasy football, we're doing like." We're doing a small niche of a small niche. So that's what we're kind of chatting about. So they're like, oh, okay. Well, you get a lot of people. I'm like, yeah, we do pretty well. So
beautiful. Love it, man. You're doing good work. You're doing good work. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was a great episode. I definitely appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. We'll do it again sometime.
Yes, sir. No, we definitely will. Before we get out of here, please subscribe to the YouTube channel for our other shows, the flagship IDP Show podcast, the IDP After Show, the IDP Trade Show, and IDP Drafts. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so for just $5 a month over at theidpshow.com. We've got premium features for paid supporters that we know you'll enjoy. Follow us on Twitter at the IDP Show, all one word. And yes, we will be remaining on Twitter. We're going down with the ship. Thanks for listening and good luck this week. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Have a good one, guys. Good luck. Bye-bye.